And so what about the types and categories of the egregor? As I told earlier, we have high level and low level egregors, and most of the time, very basic egregors, they are lower level egregor. They don't give you a blissful state. They don't reach you, gives you some radiance. So all types may be a part of higher, all the types of egregors that I will be talking to today. And they are clusters. It's a combination of some one to many, like shepherd and flock, and also clusters and fractals and hierarchy. And all types may be a part of a higher or lower level egregors, and correspondingly bring the properties of high or low vibrations. And different and similar types of egregors can conflict with each other or supplement each other, depending on their belonging to a high or low level type of egregors. So clusters, it is one leader and everyone else has a similar rules and rights, right? So all are those who have rights and rules, they are relatively equal. And this, the example could be the different ideology-based unions or religions. What is fractal type? It's like a franchise, like McDonald's or Starbucks or any other branch-like structure where every single node repeats or reflects the initial one, right? And hierarchy, what is type of egregor which represents hierarchy? It's a corporation or a pyramid type where there could be many different sub-egregors as a CEO and board of directors and managers and assistants, and each level has its own range of responsibilities and may not communicate directly with CEO or the owners of the company, but to their own subgroup leader, right? So 7 major human egregors are in front of you, and all of them are familiar to you from the time when you were born. You very quickly got introduced to your family egregor. As you were born in a hospital, you were plugged into medicine egregor, then you went to school, then somebody took you to church or some temple, and then you started to work after you finished your school, and you always belonged to some state, and then you maybe moved from one state to from one country to another. But anyways, you have this feeling of all these egregors have been impacting you, and of course you're a human. So these 7 egregors are our planetary egregorial system, and there are plenty of different sub-egregors in each category, and we briefly talked about them in the very beginning. So why is the family generic egregor is the first in this list? On a basic family generic egregor, it provides you everything that you for you to survive and learn to establish relationships, basic relationships, and also to build a sense of who you are in this world, right? To build some ego self-esteem. It covers first, second, and third energy centers in our body and those needs, because they feed you, they teach you how to walk, how to talk, and they teach you how to communicate your needs. They help you to set up some templates of your behavior, your beliefs, your goals, and of course those goals serves the continuity of a generic egregor, right? So of course they support you, and they support you as long as you follow the rules. But what we also need to keep in mind is that a family egregor is just a basic program for us, a three-dimensional basement. And in order to go above this 3 lower chakras that are represented as the basic principles of survival, communication, and self-esteem, we need to stand up, look around, and sometimes jump over this generic white big fence. It's hard to do, right? We are grateful children. Today is a Mother's Day. We have all this celebration and it's all connected. And we want to be grateful even if our parents weren't ideal. And we want to be good and pay them back. But it doesn't mean that we have to abandon our families. No, not at all. And we simply need to start looking beyond the mission of a family egregor that has its only purpose as a continuation of the family and its traditions, right? So we need to remember that egregor doesn't have an intellect. That's why we can also we can be really blinded, really blindly committed to traditions that that we feel in to traditions of the family, that the feeling of self may even never come up, right? It blinds us. We don't have a feeling of self. We have a mindset of the family, what is good and what is bad in the family, and we try to sometimes suppress this feeling of our self, true self, and it may be considered selfish if you don't. Maybe someone else in your family historically knows what is better for all the family members. But remember, Jesus said, and a person's enemies will be those of his own household. Did he mean it just literally? No, I don't think so. There is no physical danger, but there is a certain spiritual meaning here. And this is a classical example of serving the 3D lower level egregors. You're receiving safety and support, financial or physical acknowledgement and recognition, and you are paying the price. And you're tied up and limited from doing what you may really feel good for you. And sometimes you can't even tune in what is good for you, as you're also thinking on behalf of egregor. But as soon as we become aware of being trapped into the layers of the artificial intelligence of egregors, then things may start to get better. Not instantly, of course, but gradually, because you're still in the egregor. And now, as you realize its power over you, it will continue to milk you using your negative emotions and also reactions to what you just discovered, right? So we need to remember that your resentment and other ego manifestations are perfect fuel for egregors. And it's a moment of truth when you can start loosen your connections with the egregor in a conscious way, and maybe cutting these ties completely or restructuring your relationships in an appropriate way, not limiting way. It is especially important when you try to restructure your relationships with 2 or more egregors. We talked about it last time. So if it's properly done, then you will feel so much more space and freedom and radiance, because you will have so much more energy. So there are 3 components of this process: physical, mental, and subtle spiritual. And since egregor is an entity of astral nature, made of our psychic energy, the energy of thoughts and emotions, and also biochemical reactions of our body, then we need to work on all of these aspects in all these dimensions. So let's talk about the physical plane first. So in front of you, you can see the what would you like, and what do you need to do in order to become present on the physical plane of what your relationships with egregor. And now what you want to do, and you can make a screenshot of your computers, of cell phones right now, because it's hard to remember all these things. But you need to list your egregors and write down what are the most impactful egregors, what sets of beliefs and values you carry because of them, and you need to identify is it really your truth, or something is not really aligned with who you are, and to feel what you feel when you have a regular energy exchange with this egregor. And it's a very important thing, you need to ask yourself, who would you be without these values? Who would you be without these beliefs and thoughts of this egregor? It's a very interesting question. It's a key question. What is becoming possible for you if you're living this egregor? So the second stage is the mental plane, and there is also a certain types of things that you need to do. And the first one is most important, because dropping the ego and unbecoming that indispensable person is very important, because if you drop the ego, means that you reduce to zero the possibility of suffering, because it was not, whatever is said or done, it's not to you personally. And also you need to stay grateful to whatever the gifts you received from this egregor, right? And be tolerant to critics that you may receive by the representatives of this egregor, because you may hear many things that you don't want to hear. So, and never tell them that, never make them wrong, right? It doesn't work, because they represent the egregor and they talk and behave on behalf of the egregor. Just be compassionate, like a mother to her children. And you also need to stop seeking appreciation and wanting to be good for everyone. It is really important as well, because it's not possible to be good for everyone. And if you will stay wanting to be good for everyone in this and this and that egregor, this is where you lose your energy. It's not possible to be good for everyone. And also, when somebody is trying to communicate their truth with you, and of course and obviously your truth won't be the same. So in this case, you need to allow yourself be yourself and allow others be different. The second, or the third and last part of restructuring your relationships with egregores is the spiritual plane. And this is where we become aware on a subtle level on what's going on. We need to be present about the mental attitude to lose and or remove the connections with the egregor. And here you can see the list of things like detecting the location of egregorial plugins and remembering the moment when the plugin happened, and then having an experience guide to walk you through the process. And then you will be able to rewrite the contract or change the agreement with the egregor, and to break the contract and cut the ties, and maybe to remove the cheap, we call it astral parasites, from your subtle structure. Then you need to transform the negative energies, which is really important. Otherwise, you may pass it to somebody else, or you don't know where it goes. But a skillful guide, experienced guide, knows how to do so. And also, what you need to go through with a conscious approach is a rehabilitation process, because subtle body needs the time to heal, and you need to keep it going. Otherwise, there is a chance that the open wound will attract something new. So for now, I guess. I'm waiting for your questions at this moment, and wanted to announce that next Sunday we have a circle at noon. Again, like today, it's gonna be May 17th, and we will keep talking of egregores, and you will know how to keep yourself protected from automatic egregorial plugins, and how also to set up your own rules of the game. Okay, I offer that we are going to meditation. Thank you so much for joining me this Sunday. It was a big pleasure to be here for you. And I'm wishing you to have an absolutely blissful day, an enjoyable day. You are in my heart. I'm sending you so much love and blissful day. Let it be yours. For more videos, please join YouTube channel Eve Soboleva and come to the next class. Namaste.